The Health Education England Technology Enhanced Learning Team, in partnership with the National Nursing and Midwifery Directorate, have created a new immersive training resource on nursing in adult prison healthcare settings. Via full 360-degree interactive videos, you'll be transported into a variety of prison and community settings. You'll visit a cell where a patient will share his experience of receiving healthcare in prison. You'll meet staff who will share their experience of supporting healthcare in a prison setting. You'll complete scenarios and make decisions on the best actions to take. Each scenario includes a workbook that guides you through a set of reflective questions.
And I would definitely have loved to have used this kind of equipment and the immersive experience more during my degree.
I think it was sort of simple and easy to use. I think you smashed it.
Health Education England, with NHS England and NHS Improvement, have created a new immersive training resource with scenarios for the 7 priority areas in the Enhanced Health in Care Homes programme. To help you get to know the residents, you'll be able to look at their profile and extracts from their care plan. You'll see signs of deterioration and make decisions on the best actions to take. In some scenarios, the residents' vital signs will be measured.
I can have your hand, Mr. Johnson, thank you. I'm going to pop that on your finger. You can just rest your arm.
You'll have the option to record these onto a news chart. You'll use the S-Bar tool to help pass on only the most relevant information.
Yeah, I'm just calling about Mr. Anthony Johnson. His behaviour's been a bit unusual.
You'll see the outcomes for each resident.
How are you feeling today, Mr. Johnson?
I'm feeling a lot better, thank you.
Here's feedback from the staff who have used the resource.
You seem to engage in the training more. You feel like you're almost there. It's a great way of training. I was really impressed with it. I particularly like the dementia part of that training and just how it puts across how you must sort of go into their world. It come across very well.
I would highly recommend it. I find it to be an amazing experience, one I won't soon forget. I felt I was in the situation, observing it directly, and that was amazing. There's a lot of information through the VR that I haven't come across before because I'm quite new to this industry. And I feel that I'm going to retain an awful lot of it because of the technology, because it was that immersive. 10 out of 10 recommended. I definitely want to get a headset.
You really feel like you're in the room with a resident, the carer, the whole thing. You felt like you were a fly on the wall, I suppose. For somebody that's not done care before or is new to care, to be put in them sort of scenarios and you're the one that's choosing the outcome, I think that's a brilliant way of learning, because all of the scenarios that are given to you in that app are exactly what happens in a day-to-day care home, nursing home, hospital. 100% do it. Yeah, 100% do it. I wish I'd been given an opportunity like that when I first stepped into care.
The supported return to training team have created some new immersive online resources covering the theme of teamworking.
Would you be able to find me 500 mils of normal saline?
Yeah, 500.
Yeah, brilliant.
I'll go and drop the adrenaline now.
There are 3 versions, with paediatric, surgical, and medical scenarios, all accessible from the browser of a PC, tablet, smartphone, or VR headset. Via immersive 360-degree interactive video, you'll experience a busy ward with a team of colleagues you've not met before.
I've been locuming in Australia for the past year, but I feel pretty confident clerking and assessing patients on the ward and ED.
You'll get the opportunity to interact and practice your leadership and communication skills in a safe virtual setting.
Oh, actually, yes, that's a great idea.
These new resources are innovative and engaging, with questions and reflective prompts throughout. You'll get the latest updates on patients, from handovers, video assessments, and OBS charts to help you make decisions before seeing what the registrar in the scenario does. S-bars are used throughout to ensure that important information is shared in a clear, effective way. You'll also find more about other teams and colleagues available to support you during a shift.
Hi, my name's Alok and I'm the anaesthetic registrar on call.
Each resource includes guided debrief sessions with lectures from expert speakers to help you review the scenarios, reflect on your own leadership and communication skills, and think through how you might improve these.
Every interaction shapes the culture of our organisations. And the role of leaders is particularly important because what leaders pay attention to and talk about and focus on and monitor and reward, and particularly what they model in their own behaviour, tells us what it is they value. And values are what constitutes culture, what it is we value around here.
The resources were developed especially for trainees who have taken time out of training, although they will be helpful to many others. Here's feedback from doctors who have used the resource.
So I really enjoyed it. I'm somebody who doesn't know anything about computers or computer games, and I found it really, really easy to use. All of the steps through the simulation were very intuitive, and it all flowed really nicely.
I think it's a great resource to think about human factors in healthcare, and it was great to reflect on this as well. So I think it's really useful for doctors in all levels of training, so from medical students all the way up to maybe even ST7s.
Really engaging, quite immersive, and much better than mandatory training that otherwise had to do. So yeah, really beneficial for coming back to training at any level.
The General Medical Council and NHS England have worked with Moseley Multimedia Limited to create an immersive, interactive 360 video app following a patient's journey through general practice. You'll see Mrs. Thomas book an appointment after finding a lump in her breast.
Would you be happy with an appointment in 2 weeks, or would you like to see a doctor urgently?
I'd like to see her tonight if possible, but I won't be back from work until after 6 p.m.
Perfect.
You'll join her in the waiting room before being called by the doctor. Then see her first consultation with Dr. Kowalski.
I'm really worried. I found a breast lump.
Okay, perhaps you could tell me a bit about it first and then we can take a look. So, on examining you, I could feel the lump in your left breast. It feels firm and feeling it didn't cause you any pain.
You'll see Mrs. Thomas's son Jack visit the doctor.
I know my mum's been to see you. I'm really quite worried about what she's going through at the moment. Do you think she's going to be okay?
You'll make decisions on the best actions to take. You'll join Dr. Kowalski, Jack and Mrs. Thomas as they discuss preparing for the end of her life.
I'm so sorry to hear that you're suffering. Let's have a look at your medication. We'll see if there's anything we can change or add.
Thank you.
So, what we're going to do, we're going to start you on those patches for the pain. I'm going to contact the Macmillan nurse team and the palliative care team. I'll let the Macmillan nurse know that we've spoken. Is that okay?
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Then hear each person's thoughts on how this went.
I've talked to Dr. Kowalski about some really difficult things that have been worrying me for ages.
Well, that was always going to be a difficult conversation to have, and the words death and do not resuscitate are always difficult to say.
You'll watch Jack collect patches from the pharmacist to help manage his mother's pain.
How do they work?
Okay, well, they contain a fairly strong painkiller. You just need to apply one and just remember to take the old one off first. Okay. You don't need to cut them or anything, and you just apply them just like a plaster.
At the end, you'll have the chance to check your understanding in a short self-check quiz. Patients can book an appointment to see a GP online, by phone, or by visiting the practice. That's right, this is true. Warwick Medical School with George Eliot Hospital have worked with Moseley Multimedia Limited to create a new immersive interactive training app on the patient discharge journey.
Can you hear me better now?
Oh yeah, that's better.
Lovely.
You'll experience the journey at an NHS hospital from Surjit's perspective, a lady in her 80s who hit her head and broke an arm in a fall at home. Along the way, you'll meet members of the multidisciplinary team who'll involve Surjit in the assessment process and interact to make sure she receives the best care before and after discharge.
I've just got to do an admission clerking. Is that okay to ask you a few questions?
You'll see pop-ups of the team explaining their role in the process,
So the role of the ward nurse is to make sure that we have the patient's best interests at heart.
with extracts from key documents recording Surjit's progress during her 6-day stay. You'll make a virtual visit to her home, deciding what changes should be made to each room to offer her the best support after discharge, before seeing our suggestions. You'll join a board round as they discuss her case.
We've swapped her onto oral antibiotics from this morning because her inflammatory markers are right down. So as far as we're concerned, she's probably able to go home now.
Okay, lovely. So can we start discharge planning?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can put the referral through.
At the end, you'll reflect on how the discharge process went, before hearing Surjit's thoughts back in her own home.
Oh, and poor you, Billu. I had to leave you, didn't I? Everyone in hospital good though, Billu. They put everything in place to help me. All the nurses, the team checking everything at home, making sure you okay, and then making sure found out what problem was.
Warwick Medical School with the ADHD Foundation Neurodiversity Charity and ADHD Wise have worked with Moseley Multimedia Limited to create a new immersive interactive training app on neurodiversity. In the app, you'll follow Laura and her mother Beth's first consultation with their GP to discuss getting Laura a referral for an ADHD assessment.
I'm struggling to be taken seriously at school, but I think that the root cause of this is probably ADHD.
Along the way, you'll get an insight into each person's thoughts and make decisions on the best actions to take.
I just feel like sometimes people don't get it when I try to explain how much I'm struggling. I feel like I can't really do anything, but I really want to, and I know that I can, but I can't. I really hope they understand.
You'll experience part of the consultation from Laura's perspective.
I think today was about the heart. I'm going to have to catch up on that. It's not going to be so good. Oh, my heart's beating really fast. I don't know what my BPM is. It's probably quite weird if I count it, isn't it? Really, really stressed.
So she's kind of, so what we're saying is that although she's actually doing quite reasonably well by the sounds of things, but she's
Compared
just
to
not
other people,
she's not.
But when you
reaching
consider
her.
that she was predicted all 9s, and you're seeing that sort of slip down to 6s and 7s, it's just like, why?
I need to read the chapter of Lord of the Flies for tomorrow as well. I always leave everything so late.
The app includes videos where Dr. Tony Lloyd, the CEO of the ADHD Foundation Neurodiversity Charity, shares his guidance for clinicians.
We know at least 1/5 of humankind have a neurodevelopmental condition, or at least that's how we describe it within a medical model, that they sit outside of the standard distribution curve and we apply words like abnormal, disordered. But arguably, there must be an evolutionary reason why 1 in 10 people are dyslexic, 1 in 60 people are autistic, 1 in 20 people have ADHD.
In other videos, individuals with family members answer questions on their personal neurodiversity journeys.
While the positives
Well, well, I would say positives of autism could be you can get things a bit more quicker.
The students and staff of Warwick Medical School have worked with Moseley Multimedia Limited to create a new immersive interactive training app on facilitator interventions in a case-based learning group session. In the app, you'll sit in 3 scenarios from the session, watching Andrea, the facilitator, face a range of challenging situations to deal with.
Age is 59. Ethnicity is British African.
There are 2 versions of each scenario. In the first version, you'll see what happens when Andrea is uncertain about intervening and makes no interventions.
I can't see how it's relevant to the case. Really.
I don't know. Ethnicity could be like the key thing for this case. Well, men, like statistically, are less likely to go see their GP, I think.
Really?
No, yeah, I think so.
Well, I've not heard that before. Like, I'd go and see a GP if I need to.
In the next version, you'll see the difference it makes when Andrea is more proactive.
I don't know. Ethnicity could be quite a key thing in this case. It's important to consider.
Well, Izzy has a valid point here. Can anyone explain why ethnicity is important in this case?
Well, I think ethnicity and race is actually quite important. I know that when my dad had his illness, it was more likely to affect black men.
At the end of each version, you'll hear the thoughts of Andrea and the students affected.
I thought it was important to highlight the significance of Izzy's suggestions, and I felt like it was the right time for me to interject and encourage the group to reflect on it.
I think it's really important to discuss how race might play a part in these sort of cases. And I was initially quite worried that people would be dismissive of my ideas, but luckily Andrea stepped in and helped direct the conversation, which I found so helpful.
I felt really supported and valued that Andrea picked up on my points about my dad's illness and the way race and ethnicity played a part in it.
The app includes a number of video interviews where students and facilitators share tips and suggestions on the role of facilitators in case-based learning based on their own experiences.
So I think it's really important for a facilitator to have a really balanced approach. So this is where they are listening and engaged in what's going on with the group and the case, but they're not interjecting at all where it's not appropriate, and they're not leading the conversation down a particular path. They're just there to guide if it goes off track.
The first piece of advice for facilitators would be to be observant and a good listener to your groups, no matter whether they're new or more experienced groups, because no group is going to be the same.